Hello, and welcome back to Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And I was thinking today about the form of delivery that I have when it comes to like filming in this context or filming for my own channel and realizing I'll go into filming and I'm like have a cadence, don't leave pauses in the middle of sentences because I hate splicing like a sentence that starts with two words and then I have a pause and then like the rest of the sentence and yet I keep doing it and I'm curious how aware you are or like how many takes you do when filming that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Something I come across a lot, usually when it's too late in post. So I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so with the scripted portions, I generally do it until it feels right, and I almost always take the last take.
Yes.
Um, that and I do prefer to take the as long a take as possible in post. Which I mean it doesn't really matter in the long run, but because I think it's just become kind of part of how internet videos work.
Yes.
It's just kind of assumed that a cut in the middle of a sentence doesn't necessarily mean omission. It just means, maybe I mispronounced a word in the second half of the sentence and I said it right the first time, right? And it's very hard to speak, with clarity and diction throughout an entire sentence when you're just trying to blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Maybe throwing a paragraph at a camera, right?
Yeah.
And so while I try to keep it, my goal when I'm filming something is to not be more granular with my edits. Keep it a paragraph at a time.
Yes. Yeah. Because I have found that I will start a sentence and I love the way I start that sentence, but I will mess up something in like the back half or back third of a sentence. But rather than give myself enough of a pause to repeat a certain section, I'll end up having to like re-say the whole sentence, even if I like the first take for a given sentence better. And I'm fascinated lately by the breakdown of like a more formal presentation style versus a more casual presentation style, and who can kind of meet in the middle. Like my husband watches Matt Colville, who is a Dungeons and Dragons channel, and he has a lot of like DMing advice, and he will talk about how to run your games. And he has a very direct stream of consciousness style of delivery, but from the snippets I have heard, I never would have guessed that. He talks like he's reading it all, but the teleprompter is like going double speed. It impresses me so much, and I wish I could do something like that. But at the same time, I'm curious where the merit between a more formal delivery versus casual, and how different genres and topics work better for those different delivery styles.
It's probably it's probably better to do a more formal delivery when you are trying to convey knowledge in an efficient manner.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, and to your first point, leaving space to make editing that together so it does kind of flow better is very hard to do.
Yes. Because I have found that even when doing like it's scripted, I need to get in the habit of leaving a pause at the end of a given paragraph so that I keep looking to my screen to see what's next. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, unbroken, single take. I don't need to pause, but it's like, no, you do, because this paragraph's done. And Amanda the Jedi, I think, is really good. I don't know how much of their content is scripted, but she does a really good job of like pausing at the end of paragraphs to give a really clean cut. And that is the cut that I am chasing.
Yep, it's hard to get. It's hard to get.
Yeah. And I'm curious how much of your content is scripted. Like how strictly do you follow lines?
Um, it truly depends on the kind of video. Generally, I will script the beginning and end, and then just make up the middle as I go along. That's usually how I do the cooking ones. That's generally how I do. That's how I did the 4 terabyte video. So yeah, I guess I'll do the beginning and end, and then the middle when I'm actually doing the thing. That can't be scripted really. For review like content that I guess I haven't really done for a while, that's pretty much all scripted, and I'll tweak it on the fly as I go. Because even though I say my scripts out loud before I record it, it still feels very different when you're actually recording it.
Yeah.
So in that way, I'll change it as I record it, but it's not. It's still similar ideas.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point with the cooking thing. Do you? Because it all feels very off the cuff with like when you were doing the chicken nuggets. I had no idea how much you had attempted things like the pork nugget or I think it was beef. I think you did for the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope, that was all. I hadn't done that before. I had thought about it a lot.
Ooh.
This is why the salmon ones failed. There are recipes with the salmon that would work. Salmon croquets, for example.
Oh yeah. Might
have gotten closer, but yeah. No, I think about it. I mull it over in my head a lot. That's why. That's usually what takes so long, is trying to think about all the ways and making sure that it just works in the end. Like I never would have imagined that my food processor isn't maybe sharp enough and it can't get through chicken carcass like a newer one can.
True.
And it would have a hard time on my strainer, which by the way was absolutely disgusting. I hate working with raw chicken.
Yeah.
Pushing chicken through a strainer and then cleaning the strainer, the only way I can describe it, and it's going to be gross. There's no way around it. It's going to be gross. It felted to the strainer as I was trying to clean it. Anyway, yeah, because my dishwasher made short work of it. I'm like, I don't know how it did it, because I was hitting it with cold water, hot water. I couldn't, and it just kept getting worse and worse, and just attached to this. Anyway. So things like that, none of that's attempted. None of that's tried before. Yeah. I'm usually recording it the first time I'm doing it.
Chicken kind of is the worst meat to handle, isn't it?
Oh, God, I hate working with raw chicken. Oh, my God.
Yeah, because, beef, there's something very satisfying about holding raw beef. Even if it's ground beef, there's just something that feels correct.
Mm-hmm.
Raw pork, bacon feels totally fine. And even beyond just basic chicken, eggs feel terrible. Anytime I have to separate the yolk, I try to separate the yolk in the eggshells as much as possible.
Sure.
So I don't have to touch it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder, is it just the fact that it's like an avian instead of a mammal and we feel less kinship to it?
No, I think it's the way the fat works. The fat is different.
Ooh, yeah, good point.
Like, when you defrost chicken breasts, do you defrost them underwater?
No.
Okay, I put them in a bowl of water. And if the water's a little too warm, the fat will melt into the water, and it will kind of soapifies a little bit, and then there are bubbles. And I don't think beef will do that at such low temperature.
Oh no.
There's not a lot of it, but there's enough. Chicken's very lean, but there is enough of it. And for that reason, I just really, I think it's just the fat and the smell. Even the smell of raw pork gets to me sometimes, but beef never does that.
Oh yeah, I think too, just the coloring of chicken and the fact that chicken is so, not tenuous, but particular. Like, it is so easy to mess up chicken. Like we've made rare steaks a couple of times. Not raw, but rare. And rare isn't my favorite. But if it's bleeding and red on the plate, it's not going to kill you in the same way that, Pink chicken will kill you.
Chicken might. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can eat. So yeah, the beef is very interesting that you can just kind of eat it, and it'll be fine. I don't mind. I like beef tartare and beef carpaccio. I don't like medium rare steaks, which is a weird. I don't know where that divide is.
Interesting.
Right, like even for the really good cuts of meat, I'm like, coldest I'll go is medium.
Yeah.
And it's so strange because I don't know where I got it from. My mom's preference is medium rare, which is pretty rare. My dad likes it Pittsburgh style, which
What's
is
Pittsburgh style?
It's also called black and blue. It's where you burn the outside and the inside's still cold.
Oh.
Yeah. And then according to my dad, my grandfather usually ordered his steaks cremated. So I don't know where. I don't know.
That's so interesting. I love how steak can be so satisfying to different people based on the level of doneness.
Yeah.
And just other foods that end up falling into that category. Like I used to know someone who would really enjoy Dr. Pepper, but only if it was like it had been open in the fridge for like a day. So it's cold but flat.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's not okay. Cut ties. What in the hell? Oh my.
Oh, I'm sure you enjoy the rare food sin, like day old popcorn sometimes is really good when it's bordering on like styrofoam texture.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a food sin that raw cookie dough isn't it.
Oh no, everyone does that.
I'll even eat it with eggs in it. I don't care.
That's the jaywalking of food sins.
Oh man. Sometimes, and this isn't really a food sin. I'm really digging deep here. Because usually the things I cook for myself are very, very basic. I don't do a lot of sauce. I learned that was weird. I like sauces, but I generally don't use them. Like I order chicken nuggets at McDonald's. I pick the no sauce option. I'm going to go make ravioli for dinner in a little bit, and I'm going to put cheese on it, but no sauce.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Which and it's weird because the flavors are so. I love honey mustard. Honey mustard's really good, but I don't put my McNuggets in it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, my child, that's not a sin so much as that's just
weird.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not even weird. It's like,
But yeah, I can't place a food sin. Something where it's like, oh wow, that's really weird that you like consuming that.
Yeah, because like some things you think would be sins that are just good, that make sense. Like I, growing up, would mix baked beans and macaroni and cheese, like Kraft mac and cheese and just like Bush's baked beans. Those mixed together, really good. It's and if you throw in like cut up hot dogs, that's a full meal right there. Mm-hmm. Because yeah, it's we really only get into food like pregnant women. They're the only ones who commit food sins, and we give them a pass.
Yeah.
And children commit food sins.
Yep. Oh yeah. I had this recipe called everything bread, and it was literally just bread smothered in butter covered in sprinkles.
Okay. Bread. Yeah.
So I will good.
Say, like, bunny bread with just like margarine spread on top is pretty good. Also, speaking of bunny bread, this makes me think of Wonder Bread. Did you realize there was a whole fetish online just about Wonder Bread?
A fetish?
Yeah, I think it's a fetish. I think it's I don't know if it's a part of like the housewife fetish or if it's a part of a different kind of fetish, but I've seen pictures of cartoon characters, like female cartoon characters in a supermarket, and the shelves are just stocked with Wonder Bread.
Okay, I'm going to have to mar my search history.
Maybe
Wonder Bread
maybe I imagined it, but I feel like it has to be a thing. Because part of me wonders if it is like the housewife thing, where it's a woman taking care of a house, and Wonder Bread is, maybe it's connected to like the trad wife thing that people are really into.
Oh, interesting. Part of me believes that if you have a weird kink, it's tolerable as long as it isn't like absolutely disgusting / harmful. But then again, I was just contacted by the notorious DeviantArt white bread fetish guy who wanted me to draw a rich, plump, blonde, blue-eyed white woman with huge titties stuffing her shopping cart full of white bread, and I do have to wonder, how much? How much am I willing to tolerate? And at what point do I just give up? And there's a reply to this. It says, I'm sorry, the who now? There's a guy who sends artists vague commission requests, and upon the artist asking what he has in mind, he proceeds to send a detailed request about rich women shopping in a grocery store full of expensive Wonder Bread and overflowing their carts with it. I don't know if any of the artists he ropes in knows that it's a fetish thing, but I knew right away. Upon reading it, I was like, wait, this sounds like that one guy from DeviantArt that was obsessed with Wonder Bread. And lo and behold, there's a couple of examples of different art styles.
Wow. So it's
expensive.
It is still a fetish, but it's just a guy.
It's just a guy.
He can't be alone.
And then I'm going to tear down the entire park and build a mall. This lady on the phone in front of the Wonder Bread.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if there was that
like
piece of art I saw specifically. I want to say it was Lola Bunny, but like from the Looney Tunes show specifically, not like any of the Space Jam films. So it wasn't even like the peak sexy Lola. She was just at the supermarket getting Wonder Bread.
That's so weird.
Is it edible? Does it come back to being edible, I wonder?
Edible isn't... Oh. I thought you were saying edible.
I mean, as far as I know, Wonder Bread is edible.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Probably. I can't see any other angle for it.
Yeah.
Wonder Bread doesn't even have a mascot. You can rule 34. Bunny Bread, a little bit. Wonder Bread, it's just dots. What can you do with dots? Not much.
How did we end up with so many bunny mascots?
How do you
The Energizer Rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
Bunny Bread, the Nesquik Rabbit, Trix Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least 4.
Mm-hmm. Playboy,
that's 5. Because Playboy I understand because screwing like rabbits is a whole thing. Are the others subliminal? Sex sells, even if it's selling batteries and bread.
No, there's no way. That's a little too removed for.
You can't spell dominatrix without tricks.
Oh shit, you're right.
Those aren't for kids, though. Those are not for kids.
Yikes! But no, that's I still can't imagine if that's true. That's the biggest long con.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot. That's yeah. It's got to be edible though. There's no other way. There's no other way.
Yeah. I watched a video of a guy ranking fetishes. I can't remember what his metric was. Like, no, he was ranking them. He was ranking them in terms of, I think, perversion. Okay. And so the lower the score, the less perverse he found it to be. Fascinating.
What was the most perverse?
I don't recall exactly. It probably involves children or animals, as they're wont to do. He may have even skipped over those entirely and just gave a score without reading anything about them. Because there were some things that surprised me. Like a lot of the ones that involved bodily fluids were not ranked as highly as I would have guessed until they get into like excretion, food and liquid excretion.
You are not going to like today's sponsor.
Oh no!
But that's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't. Yeah, that's some kinks. Maybe we should shame. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no. There was an Ask Reddit of which kinks people were okay shaming, and the reading the list, I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair. Like crushing, yeah, shame that. That's cool.
Yep. Anyway.
Anyway.
So Wonder Bread, huh?
Yeah.
How did we even get here?
I don't know, but I walked down the bread aisle in the grocery store the other day. It smells so strong. Like at my old Kroger, the bread was just kind of like out. Like it was still an aisle, but it wasn't enclosed. And at our current grocery store, it's like up against the condiments. So if you step into it, it smells overwhelmingly of that like really sweet, just tissue paper thin bread.
Oh yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. It's an odor.
Mm-hmm. Because
So
I haven't had regular white bread in a while, like for toast or sandwiches or anything. And I'm very curious what my perception of it would be at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
And if it would be just unusable.
Yeah, because what have you been eating?
Like multigrain bread from Trader Joe's.
Oh, you can't go back.
Yeah.
For how long?
Couple years.
Oh, it's so sickeningly sweet.
Yeah.
Enriched white bread? Oh, there's sugar in there.
There's sugar in everything.
There's not sugar in. I mean, there's a negligible amount of sugar in what you're eating compared to what's in white bread. Ugh.
Yeah.
They got
sometimes.
I mean,
yeah. Sometimes I look back on what I like consumed as a child, and I'm like, how? First off, and why?
Why?
Why are the taste receptors of children so busted?
That is a great question. People just like selling sugar-coated wheat to people, to kids, and sugar-covered drinks. It's more addictive than cocaine, isn't it?
It is. Yes, and way easier to come by.
Oh, yeah. God, sugar's good.
It is.
So, have you ever just taken a spoonful of sugar?
I haven't done that in a while, but I have really missed pixie sticks.
That's. Have you ever snorted a pixie stick?
I haven't. How is it?
Burns.
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe okay. I snorted Fun Dip. I don't think I snorted a pixie stick. It burns though. They're basically the same thing. It burns.
Yeah, I think they are. I think Fun Dip was born out of people wanting like to like they were licking their fingers and sticking it in it. Like Fun Dip and Pixie Sticks creations are closely tied.
I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew someone who had to snort cocaine on stage, and they used vitamin C powder, I think.
Ah.
Yeah.
Snorting cocaine on stage implies that people could see the cocaine. So was it like Scarface levels of cocaine? That's a lot of cocaine.
It was just like hand mirror amounts.
Nah.
Yeah. That's probably my biggest aversion to cocaine, is I'm like, you mean I'm gonna stick this $100 bill that's been in everyone else's nose, stick it in my nose? No.
You don't understand. The cocaine makes you immortal, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, right.
It makes you superhuman. That's the point, right? Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's the point of any drug, really.
Yes.
It gives you superhuman powers. You can fly. Hey. That's fun.
It seems fun. But it also seems really bad. Like, I watched the opening 15 minutes of Clean and Sober with Michael Keaton, and within the first 15 minutes, he snorts cocaine off of a dead woman's butt. And
hell yeah.
I just was in awe. First off, like, the woman was dead, but I have no idea if the actress was like physically present. Um, I what kind of movies? How many takes do you have to do to get to the point where Michael Keaton snorting fake cocaine off your ass is like a day at the office?
I don't know, but I'll bet you it tickled every single time.
Every time. And then he bites her ass, and that confuses me more.
But she's dead.
He doesn't know. He thinks she's just asleep, which
That's good. Oh no. That's gotta be the worst realization.
it's so bad. And
She's cold.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's just waking up, snorting cocaine first thing in the morning, and then he makes a phone call. And I don't know if this is like a thing that all regular cocaine users go through, but the constant snorting in through the nose sound. If I lived with someone who did cocaine, I would smother them in their sleep
And then do cocaine off of their ass.
and finally understand what all this was about.
It's the circle of ass stingers, you know? You gotta
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Good old cocaine. Yeehaw.
I made it a running gag that I did cocaine in college because of all the people in our friend group to have done cocaine. I was definitely not at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to pretend.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I've done the cocaine. Yeah, I put it in my nose and inhaled it deeply. Yes, and I felt a high. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Because, like,
Believable.
Terre Haute has drugs that people could find.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think cocaine is one of them.
Nope, it's mostly meth.
It absolutely is meth. Meth. Opioids you could probably come across as well.
Mm.
Weed you could find.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this because I'm pretty sure I knew people who had access to that.
Oh, of course. Of course. Got people who have access to all sorts of stuff. But meth. We're in the Midwest, baby. It's Meth Town. Woo!
Woo! We had a bunch of meth houses around the elementary school where I grew up. And,
Nice.
yeah, it's the classic locations. And maybe it's just because it's not the crowds of people I run around in. And I'm sure people are willing to help if you ask.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing even how to get drugs in the first place. How? Because, like, going through the DARE program, they're like, don't do drugs. And I'm like, I wouldn't know where to find them. Cool. Yeah, wasn't planning on it.
It seems like, yeah, how do you get your foot in the door? No one tells you.
Yeah.
You need to know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys to know.
Mm-hmm. And I guess parties? I guess parties are where people find drugs, and that's where they get their first connections.
I guess.
Because, like, Walter White just finds the high school student, former high school student,
Mm-hmm.
and
I don't know.
yeah.
It's a whole world.
Are they still doing the shoes over the telephone wires? Because that used to be the
know.
tell.
Yeah. Well, now people know they got to come up with something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
And
see that sometimes, but I can't imagine
Yeah.
that it's. I mean, I can't imagine, right?
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if, like, as drugs become more and more legalized, if just drugs in general become boring.
I mean, that is part of the point of legalization, yeah?
Yeah, because, like, weed became legal in a few states, and then it was edibles and cute little drugs.
Cute little designer drugs. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I am MDMA. Ooh.
Oh no. I think if that's what they do. If we want to steer kids away from drugs, you don't show the like shady people behind the alleys wearing sick leather coats and being out after 11. If you showed President Biden doing like Molly, Molly stocks are plummeting.
Molly stock, yeah.
Because then it becomes the Joe Biden drug, and no one wants to do the Joe Biden drug.
Yeah, if he wants to win the war on drugs, he's got to take one for the team. Do the Molly, Mr. President. Let's go. Got to cringeify drugs.
Yeah.
And that's not a terrible idea.
It's a great deterrent, because you have one person do a thing that just isn't cool, and all of a sudden the stocks in that thing plummet. Like, Hillary Clinton became first lady. No one was naming their kid Hillary anymore. Gone.
Pokemon go to the polls.
And it tanked her career. Right then and there.
I can't believe she said that out loud.
I can.
God, oh my lord. Hi, I'm any political party. I'm going to pick the most unlikable candidate to run. The oldest and most unlikable.
It really is a race to the bottom anymore.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Could have had Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush could have been our president, but no.
Please clap.
The man sold guacamole bowls from his campaign store, and to my knowledge, not another presidential candidate has ever sold guacamole bowls.
It's innovative.
It is.
He tried. So you never know unless you try.
Yeah.
What else could he have sold? Guacamole bowls, maybe. I don't even know something as absurd as guacamole bowls.
Didn't he do a thing with a turtle metaphor? I could have sworn Jeb Bush did a thing with the turtle.
Jeb Bush, slow and steady wins the race, and then he didn't.
Yeah, no, he's the joyful tortoise. He keeps turtles in his pockets.
Excuse me?
Yeah. The Republican presidential candidate, who early on in his campaign referred to himself as a joyful tortoise, walked over to a 13-year-old boy here at a breakfast joint Wednesday and pulled out a tiny turtle figurine. Slow and steady wins the race, Bush told the 7th grader.
That's so sad.
I have a bunch of turtles. I got the little baby Jesus, I got my rosary beads, and I got 3 turtles.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's true. That's incredible. He does look like a turtle, but so incredible. Oh my lord. Well, okay. All right, Jeb. You tried.
The whole world vibrates, and you're a few miles away, and there's a lagoon in between you and the launch, and the light shines on the lagoon, and there are like thousands of fish that are jumping because of the vibrations. He's talking about Cape Canaveral, because at the time I think NASA was shut down.
I'm really glad Jeb didn't win the presidency.
Because the funny thing is of the Bush sons, he was the one expected to be like a political mastermind.
Oh, that's hilarious.
George Bush was the screw up.
Well.
Which, I mean, Iraq War, so still true. But...
well. All the best plans, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to see...
Although I don't know if Jeb would have had the brains to check the melting point of iron beams before.
Oh no. See, George Bush being responsible, I'm not sure. Dick Cheney being responsible, 100%.
Oh, sure.
That man shot another man's face off. Casually.
Oops.
Yeah, it was basically all it amounted to.
Oopsie poopsie. Oh no. Ooh, I just shot off another man's face. I made a fucky wucky.
Yeah. I think it was Dick Cheney who signed a waterboarding kit for Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh yeah, it was just a jug of water, but it was
Oh yeah.
I still need to see that show. That looks like a good show.
It's incredible. Because, like, I don't know if enough of it is just, like, people being polite and not wanting to say, this man's face looks like Play-Doh. And I honestly don't know how I would respond. But I do agree with the sentiment that if we want a Joker for the new era, we give Sacha Baron Cohen the brightest purple suit we can find.
Mm-hmm.
Just let him loose.
Yep. Bernie Sanders kind of saw through him in all the clips that I've seen.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. He's just staring at him with just, is this guy serious? This is not how math works.
One of my other favorite undercover things, I want to say it was when Stephen Colbert was still on the Colbert Report. Mm-hmm. He went to Occupy Wall Street dressed as like a Wish.com Che Guevara. And it was amazing. He met up with these two. One of them was named Ketchup, I know that much.
What?
Yeah, I forget what the other one was named. I'll just say Hot Dog Water, but he basically got Hot Dog Water and Ketchup to explain to him how Occupy Wall Street worked, how it was democratized, how they were handling everything, and they were like, we're not leadership, and he's like, oh, so you don't speak for the movement? And they're like, no, and he's like, go ahead and speak for the movement.
The Newsroom did something like that in their second season, where they did the Occupy Wall Street, and I don't know. Have you ever seen the Newsroom?
I haven't.
Lauren, what the hell? It's so good. It's 2.5 seasons, and
that's way shorter than I would have expected.
Oh, but it's so good. It's so good.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Fleabag is 12 episodes. It's amazing.
Oh, the second season of Fleabag is some of the best television I've ever seen.
That's what we're about to start. We just finished the first season the other day.
Oh, it's so good. Finally, it gives me a 6th season, a 6th season arc of, I guess I won't spoil it, the Hot Priest arc. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
It finally dethroned season 4 of Louis. There's a 6-string arc in Louis that was really good, and this finally it's a similar premise, and it dethrones it. It's so good, so well shot, so well written.
I love the way they use the fourth wall, especially in that last episode where her sister like throws it out in the open to her, and she like looks in the camera and tries to take a step back. I love that. Mm-hmm. Love that so much, and I love Olivia Colman. Because up until they go over for like their mother's memorial dinner, I was like, I can't tell if this is unreliable narrator or if she's genuinely a terrible person.
There you go. Yeah, no, the way that show is constructed is very, very good. It's so good. I don't know of another show that does it quite like that.
Probably is yet to come out. Because there are people like us watching Fleabag right now. Writing because they watched Fleabag.
Yeah. And yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that was a very good show. Very, 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 very good show.
Yeah, no, but you were going to say about the Newsroom. I distracted you.
Oh, you should watch the Newsroom. Yeah, they did something about Occupy. I don't even remember what I was going to say. They did something about Occupy Wall Street, and Will McAvoy was having a bad day, so he absolutely roasts them. Just and the problem with that is that Shelley Wexler, who's played by Aya Cash, who I didn't realize who that was until I saw You're the Worst, and it's like, oh, that's her. But no, she had a lead to a black op that the U.S. allegedly that the U.S. allegedly conducted, called Operation Genoa. That's season 2 has an actual story arc. Season 1 is kind of, bits and pieces and whatnot.
Yeah.
But season 2 has an actual story arc of Operation Genoa. The whole story arc of season 2. And this isn't really giving anything away because this is like episode 1 material.
Yeah.
Is they aired this big expose on Operation Genoa, and they accused the U.S. government of conducting a black op in which they used white phosphorus, and it didn't happen.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Because like once you report it, people I think just have a feeling enough about stuff like the CIA that they would believe it whether or not there was anything confirmed. And you said they didn't do it, and my gut reaction was, oh, they did. They had to.
Well, no, it comes to pass that every source that they had was either not reliable or maliciously faked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, some days I really hate my job. But then I remember that there are people who have to make like decisions that affect things on a national front, an international scale, and I'm like, you know what? I still hate my job, and I'm gonna deal with it.
It's a relative scale.
Yeah.
Of course someone has it worse than you.
Yeah.
And
someone has it better than me.
Yeah. But because there is a finite number of people, and sometimes you got to think about this, because there is a finite number of people, there is someone for whom there is no one who has it worse. There must exist someone for whom no one has it worse, and there must exist someone for whom no one has it better.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to pin down because that in and of itself is subjective. But along any axis, that must be true. And that's very fascinating to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Misery Olympics, everyone plays that every day. Except for the people who would actually win Misery Olympics. Because they're too busy being miserable.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was thinking about that today of like, what is the comfortable amount of money that I can have to not work but not be responsible for things. Like, I don't want billions. I don't want to do foundations or nonsense like the Gateses. I don't want to build spaceships and start rocket programs like Musk and Bezos. I think there's like a clothier or a designer, and he is also, I think, Banana Republic maybe, and he has billions of dollars and like no one ever sees him. And I think there's like a threshold where there's like the more money you have, the more influence you have, and then there's like a drop-off point, and then after another point you reach like money and influence, but then after that there's another drop-off point. And I think ideally I would exist within that first drop-off point.
That's a good target.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't want what Bezos has, not really. What do you want to do? Create foundations, make scholarships. Oh, it's so much effort, so much work.
Yeah. Ugh. And it's all just for tax write-offs.
Yeah. Just exist. Put it all in the Caymans or something and just...
Yeah. Doesn't exist. But a thing that does exist are the services brought to us tonight by our sponsor.
Well, I told you early on that you wouldn't like it because, it might have to deal with excretions of some kind. And in this case, unfortunately, it does. Just, but they give us money, so I'm contractually obligated to read the copy that they provide us. So, without further ado, this episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by Steaming Pile. Now, I realize that this can lead to some kind of confusion, but we're not sponsoring ourselves. That would kind of defeat the purpose of sponsorship, right? No, the Steaming Pile that's sponsoring us today is actually a new service offered by a previous sponsor of ours. You might remember Golden Corral, right? That was the place where you could pay to have horses piss on your face.
Yeah.
Well, if you liked Golden Corral, as I'm sure many of our viewers have because they're paying us to read another ad copy, then you'll absolutely love Steaming Pile. It's actually quite remarkable, Lauren. You know how they have nature preserves where rich people can go and shoot a lion? Like Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah.
They can go and shoot exotic animals. Well, this is a nature preserve where you can, where upper middle class people can pay to have a lion take a crap on their face. It's amazing, right? They're not the only, but I'm just flabbergasted by how this business model works. You pay, you sit under the animal, and wait, and it happens. They're all very well tamed. They're all fed very nice products. Let's be clear, lions aren't the only animals that you can find at Steaming Pile, however. Turtles, giraffes, bats, and yes, of course, horses. The interesting thing is that they don't really claim any health benefits this time. With Golden Corral, they claim that it could cure cancer, weight loss, what have you. They're not claiming anything with this poop stuff. They're just seeing what they can sell at this point, I think. But I'm under contractual obligation to say, come on down to Steaming Pile where there is a tail raised just for you.
Ooh, you know, I think I heard about this place through Gwyneth Paltrow's newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was part of, they were thinking about putting that in Goop Lab season 3, I think.
I think they didn't want the brand perception confused because Goop sounds a lot like poop.
It does, yeah. It made for a really snappy, like, newsletter title. Where Goop does poop. And it's, I do think selling that could possibly go over better than the Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle.
Maybe. I've seen reviews of that candle. There's no way. That can't be accurate.
Man.
Cannot be accurate.
The upper middle class is weird.
Yes, it's very weird. How can they afford all of it? How can millennials be upper middle class? I don't get it. I haven't watched Sex in the City yet, but how does that work? How does that happen? How can you be just an art gallery lady and live in New York? And I don't know. I don't know.
Rent control.
Ah.
If you live in a rent controlled apartment that you get from inheritance. I want to say that was how it worked for a couple of the Friends characters, even.
Oh, it must be. It must be.
One of them got it through rent controlled inheritance rules.
Is that canon?
I think. Maybe one of those like word of God mouth things said after the fact.
Okay, well, I don't respect.
And we all know how canon that makes a thing.
But yeah, that's a great example. Friends. Mm-hmm. But Friends isn't such a, first off, terrible show. But I think that, so I'm trying to remember the occupations of everyone. Ross is a paleontologist. Mm-hmm. His sister, don't tell me.
She's like head chef at a restaurant.
Yep, she's a head chef at a restaurant, and later I think she opens her own catering business. I can't remember her name for the life of me. It's her. She's played by Courtney Cox, but I cannot remember her name. What's her name?
Monica.
Damn it! Right. Okay. Monica's a chef, very prestigious chef in some circles. Joey's an actor. What does Chandler do?
I think he works kind of like a middle management type job.
Interesting. Okay.
It always strikes me as like those jobs that you see in things where it's like they go to an office, they dress nicely. I don't know what they do from day to day.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
A bullshit job, I think, is what someone coined the term.
Okay. So I guess that's what he does. Phoebe is
eccentric.
Okay. And then Rachel is she works at a department store? Does she design clothes later?
I think she does design clothes later. She starts out as a waitress. She has rich parents. She was rich. But I don't remember if her parents cut her off or not.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to watch all 100-some episodes to find out.
But you must. These are the important lore questions.
Oh, Lord, no, please don't make me. I don't wanna. Every time I see that show, even when it was airing, I'm just like, oh God. And there are shows that are like not as like, I don't know, like shows that have hit syndication are generally not like the gold standard of television, right? But they've hit syndication for a reason. I'm thinking like the things that are old, but you still see. I swear to God, I still see Seinfeld, King of Queens, Mike and Molly advertised on buses.
On buses.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see Jerry Seinfeld's face on a bus, and it's like, whoa.
Huh. I would have thought it'd be all like Young Sheldon.
Yeah, which truth be told is not as bad of a show as I thought it would be. That's seen a couple episodes. I see. And it's like, oh, this is, I mean, I don't care for it, but it's not bad. It's about the same quality as The Big Bang Theory. Which I contend is not bad, but not good.
No, that I enjoyed season 1 of The Big Bang Theory. I think anyone willing to be honest would say they likes the first season of The Big Bang Theory.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself, I'll be folding laundry and I'll be singing the theme song, and it's been 5 or 6 years since I've seen that show.
Interesting. Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe bring that up with your therapist. But do you get the sense? And I don't know how much TV you actually consume that's in like syndication, but do you get the sense that Chuck Lorre sitcoms are usually really good in their first half, and then their back half they aren't at all because the show gets too complicated?
Oh yeah, because it's after a point. It's how do you still find conflict?
Mm-hmm.
These people have been friends for literal decades. Why are there still petty conflicts that can be resolved within a 23-minute time frame?
Yeah.
And I think the sitcom subversion we have yet to see, because networks and Netflix don't necessarily trust a creator to say, yeah, we'll let you do 11 seasons of this concept, sure. Because I think the next cool sitcom subversion would be a Friends style show or a Big Bang Theory style show where the relationships do disintegrate to the point where they outright hate each other, and the situations become, oh, I formed an alliance with this person because we've reached a momentary truce, but that's seen as stabbing this person in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I think more underhanded sitcoms should be the thing.
That would be cool, yeah.
Where the enmity is the equilibrium, not the friendship.
That would be interesting, yeah. But I don't know if anyone wants to see that because TV is a form of escapism. If you actually want to do that, then you go buy Netflix, you proletariat, you plebe. Go watch Euphoria.
I watched other people watch Euphoria.
What's that show about?
High schoolers?
Are you sure?
Drugs? Glitter?
Okay, if I watch this show, which it's quickly becoming necessary, I think, to live in our society, am I going to end up wanting to just missing 13 Reasons Why? Is that what's going to happen?
Ooh. That's a question I'm not sure I can answer. Because at least Euphoria does like interesting cinematography things.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of the shots. It looks really cool. But it just seems like such an exhausting show that would just be solved by putting the characters in college. And to this day, I don't understand why shows that want to be dark and edgy don't just set their things in college, because you get all of the trappings of high school at college and everything makes sense and isn't illegal.
Wow. Lauren, that's incredible. That's breathtaking. How did you? No one's going to do that. It blows my mind why. It blows my mind. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. Think about the popularity of college sports.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that translate? Why do you have to set things in high school? Well, I don't understand. Midwest?
And two, if, like, the Disney Channel, it is all shows set in high school. Who's the target audience? 11 to 14-year-olds, kids who are going into high school. If you want to sell a show to teenagers, set it in college.
Maybe. So that also brings up an interesting point. You set if you're pitching a show to middle schoolers, you set it in high school because they are eager to grow up.
It's
They're like,
aspirational.
ooh, look at all this cool stuff that I can do. I can do drugs and bang hookers in high school. Okay. And then you go, if you want to target something to at this stage millennials, but at some point in the past it will be, or some point in the future it'll be younger generations. You have to capitalize on nostalgia. Young people are not old enough to have nostalgia.
Oh. Yeah.
Because their lives, they aren't nostalgic for when they were younger. Which so this weekend I went to this I don't even know what to call it, this establishment. It's called the Hubbard Inn. It was 3:00 on a Saturday. It was this brunch was still happening. It was, you nod like you understand, like, yeah, that seems like an appropriate time for brunch.
Well, no, because you said we'll just call it an establishment, and then you followed that up with the Hubbard Inn. And last week you told me about a Scientology-esque induction you went through. So it sounded like a follow-up.
No. No. This is completely separate. This place, brunch was still going at 3. I always thought brunch to mean, I'm going to eat an omelet and some lobster at 11.
Yeah.
Maybe a mimosa. This was full of late 20s, early 30 somethings, getting sloppy drunk on bottle service. And the music was so loud, but it was so interesting what the music was. The music was I swear to God, it had to have been a late 2000s, early 2010s Spotify playlist. That had to have been what they were going for.
Ooh, like Fall Out Boy, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. Oh.
And why do you think that is? Because that's what drunk millennial girls will dance to.
Yes.
And get more bottle service. $350 a bottle.
Oh my.
Why is it so expensive?
Because they'll pay for it.
Yeah, the drinks weren't even that good. There was one that was spicy. Have you ever had a spicy cocktail?
No. I mean, I'm white, so ginger's a little spicy sometimes.
Okay, well, I had something with ginger in it, and it was boring as hell. But the spicy one was revolting. Oh my God, it was so bad.
What did they do? Did they like rim the edge in pepper instead of salt?
No, I think they infused I believe it's done by making simple syrup spicy, by infusing it with peppers or something. I don't know what they did, but it was not good. Oh my God! But it was so loud. Everyone was so sloppy because I presume that they've been there for like 4 hours, a couple bottles deep. There was a company I never heard of going around giving out shots of their tequila, which I couldn't ascertain the flavor of. It was, oh my God, it was 3:00. It was 3:00.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting that drunk for anything. Like even when I'm just home by myself in like my pajamas, I only ever want to drink enough that Adam Sandler movies are funny.
There you go.
And that's enough.
Yeah, I can't key into it. I can't get into that mindset. So, and it's very interesting to witness people who can and do on perhaps a weekly basis. It's like,
oh yeah,
how do you sustain that?
Yeah, well, because I think about like all of those articles about like how to get out of debt and how to save money, and it's like stop going out to eat, and I'm like, I mean, we go out to eat like once a week, and it's usually not at the highest end places. It's like at our staples. Yeah. And now that you mention it, I think that is what they're actually referring to.
Could be.
It's $350. Like, that's gotta be like, probably 7 times what my husband and I would do for like a nice night out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's yeah.
And that's just for liquor. That's not even the food they're having either.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know. These places are dime a dozen in neighborhoods like this, like River North, things like that. It's just I can't key into it. I just cannot for the life of me can key into it.
Yeah. Nah, I have no desire to get drunk, but man, if a gentleman gets intoxicated in a film, I will watch some garbage to see that. But that's a fetish to unpack at another time.
No! Not the cliffhanger.
Yeah, no. Who would have found that at the bottom of the pile is a little prairie dog of a fetish waiting for next time? This has been Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And I have been Tucker.
And we will see you all next time.